lovelies, and welcome to today's video. My name is Alya and I'm so glad you stopped by. So today we're going to be creating this Barbie light look and reflecting on 2021. What a year it has been. So I hope that you can stick around and create this very light, very minimal and very natural makeup look with me and achieve this from it. It's actually really easy. So stick around and let's chat. So it's been a very interesting year. It's been a very full year. A lot has been achieved. Definitely some very exciting milestones and yeah, definitely things to reflect upon. Can't deny that. Definitely can't deny that. So the thing I'm most proud of, I think, about this year is definitely the work at Soup Kitchen. So Super Kitchen, for those of you who haven't been to this channel before or haven't heard, is my charity project. It's a soup kitchen, as you might have guessed. We do hampers with groceries for those in need, which exploded at the beginning of COVID. It just absolutely went nuts. So many more families unfortunately needed help from such services, and the services that existed, a recent study at the time had showed that it barely broke the surface for food insecurity. Now, we're not talking about starvation or hunger here. We're talking about what's called food insecurity. We're talking about making informed, healthy choices for your food, for your nourishment, based on financial or maybe sometimes mobility restraints. So if you can't just afford to constantly do, supermarket delivery, or if you're not someone who can cook for themselves, or you're somehow isolated due to disease, or, with COVID, that was something we all experienced in one way or another. But this is something that happens to people all the time. A really sad reality that I did not realize was so bad was how many people were choosing their, say, healthcare over food. And I don't mean food. Anyone can buy themselves white bread and cheese, for example. Probably even cheese is a bit extravagant, but, regular cheap cheese. But even fruit and veg in Australia today are quite expensive. And, they're not filling. So it's a lot easier to buy, say, a bunch of pasta, which is $1 a packet, or bread, which is $2 a loaf, and a few little bits and pieces here and there just to make it palatable, and live on that, because you can absolutely survive like that. But how healthy are you? And especially that if you're in the situation to begin with, you're probably not someone who's got the best health to begin with. That's a generalization, but that is a common theme. So the percentage tripled of the people who found themselves in this situation. And yes, as I said, the most shocking thing is the amount of domestic violence that people who hadn't really reported it before were suddenly experiencing with COVID. Whether it's the financial stress that brings out these things in people, or whether people were bored at home and started drinking more, or maybe people got worried or depressed and started abusing drugs or something more. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. But definitely things did not go well for quite a large percentage of Melburnians. Those are the only statistics I really do know about, is Melbourne's or Victoria's hungry and or food insecure, as I mentioned. So Super went from strength to strength. We definitely had a lot of work on our hands trying to source food, and fresh food, not just any food, fresh food, and volunteers and drivers to deliver that food, especially in a COVID safe environment. And cooking, had to figure out how to cook in a COVID safe way. And you've got to remember, this is from the very beginning of COVID. We're probably a little bit cleverer now. We know what we're dealing with a bit more. But at the beginning of it all, we had no idea. So here we were, wrapped up in hazmat suits, sweating in the middle of winter, because those suits do not breathe. I guess that's their whole point. Cooking soup and cooking meals for these people for distribution. And of course, storage was tricky as well, because suddenly we went from having, needing one freezer to needing about 4, which is what we've got at the moment. Plus, we've got more than 4, but we've got 4 constantly stocked with food for distribution. So with being kicked out of where we were cooking, not kicked out, but with being restricted access to where we were cooking because of COVID, and having all these extra people to feed, push came to shove and we decided to find a place of our own. And that's where Super Bistro was born. So you rent a restaurant to use the kitchen. You discover the kitchen's not usable because it's been abandoned and mistreated for the last at least year of its existence. So what do? You renovate. And when you renovate, you take into consideration things like you've got elderly people with walkers, you've got people with disabilities and mobility issues, you build ramps, you build accessible toilets, you do all the things to make your recipients and volunteers have the easiest possible access that they can. And when all of this was achieved, we sort of went, well, how are we going to utilize this space? And in the interim, we had a lot of people approach us and sort of say, you know, what about us? You know, we'd love to buy this food, but there's no food like it for purchase. Is there any chance you could make it, you know, a bit more glamorous and you could sell it? And we went, sure, let's do that. So then Super Bistro came along. The whole idea of Super Bistro was that all the proceeds were going to fund Super Kitchen, which so far so good. We definitely cook for the kitchen at the bistro and utilize the space and utilize the fridges and you know, everything, the whole infrastructure that we've got set up there for the use of the kitchen, which is great. You don't have to rent a space. You don't have to, you know, go crazy getting produce the week before. It's a constant turnover, which means we have more variety and we cook more frequently and things like that. It's brilliant. And so there we go. So that was the achievement of this year, and I'm personally so proud. I've never been so happy dedicating that much of my time to a project. It's just been wonderful. It's paid back 1,000 times over in the thank yous and the grateful faces and, you know, all the wonderful volunteers and all their feedback and all the interactions they have with amazing people and the delicious food, which definitely helps. And everything, the whole experience has been entirely rewarding. It's definitely given me new passion for what I do the other days, which is my eye work, because it gives you new appreciation for where you come from and what you've achieved, because you have that constant reminder that it could all disappear one day. And it's, you know, don't take things for granted and be grateful for every gift that you've been given. Okay, so back to the look for a moment. I'm using my new bronzer. I've been using it for a few weeks now. It's the color Summer Loved by Savvy Minerals. So the same as the brand that I use for everything else pretty much for my skin. So got a fair amount, but not too much, on a beautiful blush brush, but it's a small blush brush because I'm going to use it to contour. So the whole idea of this Barbie look is it's not going to be heavy, and, you know, it's going to be like a second skin. As you can see with this medium coverage with the Savvy Minerals, you don't get full kind of heavy pore filling kind of, you can spoon it off with a spatula type thing. No, you can still see a few, you know, color dispersions. You can definitely cover those up with a bit of highlighter and things like that later. That's not what we're talking about here. The idea is to keep it very light and very casual in the overall kind of look. It could easily wear this amount of makeup just to work. It's very, very straightforward. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that this tends to be a bit of a trend for me. I don't like heavy makeup. Sometimes I'll opt for no liquids at all. I'll just use powders, just depending what my skin's doing on the day. So got my bronzer. Now this is a little bit shimmery. If you're not too confident, start with a matte. So I'm going to work it really, really, really kind of repeatedly into my cheek here. But the whole idea of this Barbie look is to be kind of snatched here. I don't know if they're still using that term. It's very 2018. But see how the angle's kind of there. It's continuing from my chin and it's going kind of in line with where the line of my eye should be going. So if you sort of imagine lines across your face, you'll figure out where that cheek should go. I happen to have quite a sunken or sort of prominent cheekbone, so it's a little bit easier on me. But if you ever get stuck, you can just go. So that's your zygoma, and that's your zygomatic arch, your cheekbone, and you can actually feel it. If you're ever in doubt, you can kind of suss it out by doing this. So once I'm happy with the amount of product, I start to work it up a little bit and into the temple. There it is. I've got that natural shimmer with this product, so I don't feel like I need to add too much highlight or anything. I've just worked it up high enough that it kind of goes into that area. I've also got a little bit of a glow from my concealer and foundation. They kind of give you this dewy finish, even though it's completely satin or even a matte satin finish. It just gives you that really beautiful fresh skin kind of feel. So with what's left on the brush, which isn't really, like, you couldn't even see it, but it's there, just work the double chin or the jawbone. I never go above the jawbone. You have to stay under. If you're lucky and you don't have a double chin, then it's easy for you. It's just what's visible. But for me, I just imagine where I want my jaw to sit and I just work under there. It's not going to give me a lot of color deposit. It's just going to give me that shadow. You can see that there. Now with what's left on the brush the second time, I'm just going to go over the nose lightly. You'll remember I put a little bit of concealer just down the middle. So this is just with leftover product again, just to create a little bit of, first of all to settle in the liquid products, but also to create that little bit of shadow, which just creates a bit more of a narrow nose. The other thing you could use is the multitasker, which I have on my eyebrows. I'm just going to take a little spoolie here to brush them out. The multitasker is just a dark pigmented sort of a brownie, chocolate brown powder. I use it for my eyebrows. You can mix it into your foundation powder to create contour. I often do if I want a really evening kind of look, or I need my makeup to last a really long time, or I'm being photographed, that sort of stuff. Entirely unnecessary for what we're trying to achieve here. But I will definitely recommend you get one of these. This one's from eBay. It's nothing special. I just like the leopard print. And I'm going to just fold it like that and go right into the corner there. Do the nose. There's a little triangle there. This is an area that very frequently cracks with any makeup. It's an area where we touch a lot. And I also have watery eyes today, so all the more reason. My amazing 7-year-old, which is the next really amazing thing I can talk about from 2021, he has been such a trooper. He hasn't had it easy. He's not been at school very much at all, and when he finally did go back, he did not have a good time of it at all. It was really hard for him to settle back in. It's all the things, you know, and as a mum you stress out about these things, but I'm going to let time and experience and the amazing help of the teachers kick in, and hopefully he'll be better next year when we go back to school. But leaving that alone, he's just done so well. I mean, I personally would not have handled all of this craziness at all. He's done so well. I'm just going to add a little bit of a deep coffee color underneath the grayish green that I've got there. By the way, I'm using the Aether Beauty palette here, and it was the Royal Winter in the corner there by Savvy Minerals. Back to the Aether with this. I'm just going to fill in the corner. And remember what we said about going up? I'm using an angled brush to really create that definition. Okay, it looks really crazy now, but we'll fix it up in a moment. Yeah, he has done so well. So not only is he keen on being the man of the house, because he's just awesome like that, he's also he's just not a lazy kid, this one. If anything, he gets bored really easily, which is such a that generation problem, right? I guess every parent says that about their kids' generation. But my kids constantly need some kind of something to do, you know. What did I do, or what can I do, or, you know, who did that sort of thing. It's a constant part of their vocabulary even, and it's an issue for me. I'm a busy person. I like being busy, but I just as much enjoy doing absolutely nothing. I think that might be the reason why I started this channel, because it's just so therapeutic. I love the feedback from you guys. I love the interaction with you guys, and I love that it's just a couple of hours of my week that I can sort of really give to myself. As a mum and working 2 jobs, that's just, you know, my professional job and also my charity work. I just don't have time for that unless I do these type of things. And I love that because of your interaction, because of your feedback, I feel so committed, and I look forward to coming back and look forward to doing things differently again next year. So this year was very much dedicated to eyes, and I'll still keep on doing things about eyes a little bit, but I really do miss the other content that I used to do on this channel. So I really want to bring some of that back, and it did get really great feedback. But because I've just been so busy with soup, the creative side of me just really did have a bit of burnout this year. So I'm really looking at bringing that back for the new year. Right now onto eyeliner, we're going to continue really defining the eye and making it really turned upwards, like almost kind of that sultry, foxy kind of eye. That's what all that shadowing and placement was for. So we're going to trace the lashes, and then we're going to create a line that sort of goes to there. You can sort of feel that's where the bone starts there, and you'll get a really beautiful line there. There you go. It's not too harsh. You can definitely use a grey pencil or a brown pencil if you don't like black. I'm all about the statement, so I don't mind. You can also use a nude inner corner colour. I've gone for a bright white, so this is all intentional, but you can definitely, as long as you've got this light and dark contrast, you can do whatever you feel comfortable with. My biggest tip for this is to do it with your eyes open, because your bones are not equal. Like this bone sits about there and this bone about there. Look at that. Imagine if my eyes are always lined completely incorrectly. So I always keep my left eye a little lower to match my right eye, because if I put my right eye high, I feel like it gives you this loop-de-loop type of look. So for me, I've just discovered through experimentation that this is the best way to do it. So So I go as high as I can with the right eye, and then I just match my higher eye to my lower eye. Now if you've got long nails, this is a really cool trick. You just run the nail underneath the liner and it just pulls it across a little further and starts to fade it out. This is why I like to use a pencil. This is a really great pencil. This is by Nutrimetics. It's probably one of the only non-clean brands, but it's a really nice brand. It's just not on the clean spectrum that I use still, because I love their pencils. All right, so just filling in a little bit, just tap, tap, tap with what's left on the brush I used the chocolate with, just to sort of give it that continuation, that sort of faded look. You can do the lower lashes with pencil, or you can use like a little kohl thing to build it in there as well, to give you sort of more open and more definition. By all means, your choice. I'm just going to put some mascara on and I'll be right back. My son has done amazing to get where he is with everything that's been going on in his life. He's had no stability, no consistency in his 7.5 years on this earth, and he's just great. He really is. I'm just proud of the man that he's growing to be. I know it's only early days being 7.5, but you know, I can't help but be proud of the kind of little character he is, and the things that he gets excited about, the things that he displays, like all his generosity and kindness, and how gentle he is and how strong he is. And I get very frustrated and I get very sad for him time to time, but overall, just a proud mum over here, if you don't mind. My 5.5-year-old finished daycare on such a high note. He's come also leaps and bounds in the last 2 years. Luckily, his journey wasn't so disrupted with all those closures and COVID and everything, so we've been a bit more fortunate there. But he's so excited to start school next year, and I can just keep, you know, all my prayers for him not to have the same kind of experience as his brother did with all the closures and homeschooling and all that horror that the kids had to go through over the last 2 years. At work, we've had some changes in staff, and we've been so lucky to get a really great new team member, and she's just been such a blessing. Another team member has stepped up to a more senior role, which has been an even bigger blessing. The two of them are just rock stars, young girls who just have so much spark, so much energy, so much intelligence and ideas and technology, and just lovely to work with them. They're so inspirational. I feel young being around them, and they're funny and they're great to joke around with, and just a wonderful professional setting, which is really great. So now that I've got my beautiful lip butter on, that's a nice deep but fairly neutral toned colour, just to finish off this beautiful Barbie light look. I just want to say thank you to all of you guys. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for coming back every time and watching. I really look forward to next year and bringing you another rebirth of Ida's creations. I've been hyper focused on eyes this year, and it's just honestly just been burnout responsible for that. And I do love eyes. I can talk about eyes all day and all night, as you guys would have can tell by now. And so yeah, we'll definitely mix it up next year, keep it a little bit more interesting, and bring back some more variety for the new year. So farewell 2021. I hope that all of you are safe as always. I hope that everyone has had an opportunity to take some time at the end of the calendar year. It's always a very busy, but also a good opportunity to just, you know, regroup and start the new business year for next year. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead, please do. I don't upload that often, so it won't bother you too much. Go ahead and subscribe and stay updated with what's happening in the new year. For more regular updates, please head over to Instagram. Heaps of beautiful puppy photos up there. Didn't mention Juki because he just happened just very recently, recent addition to 2021 and to the family, but he's a very spirited and naughty little boy and very cute, very photogenic. So go ahead and jump on Instagram to see more things of what's going on and lots of cute pictures. Wherever you are around the world, lovelies, I can't wait to see you on the next one. Bye!